Growing up, I have always loved Winx Club. I even enjoyed the seasons that most didn't. And you know what else I loved? I loved vampires.
Blah, blah, blah.
I tried to watch and see anything I possibly could about vampires, learn about them, draw them, you name it. Little did I know that there is a show that combines both of these things that came out a year before I was born. In today's first episode of my new series on the channel, Fever Dreams You Forgot About, I'm covering a show called School for Little Vampires. Do you guys like the new intro for the Bunny Ween season? I really love it. I filmed an hour worth of footage, but I feel like I was yapping instead of being informative or saying anything useful, so this time I brought a little script and hopefully you can't tell too much. This video will be segmented into different chapters, so if there's a specific thing you want to know, feel free to use the timestamps in the description below. But if not, I hope you can enjoy this video as a podcast type thing. Feel free to put it on while you draw, do laundry, or anything like that. Visually, there may be a few things you need to understand the context better, but otherwise, I think you could just kind of listen to the video. I will now sing you my rendition of the theme song. It's your awesome guitar, yeah, Sleeping in coffins, we party all night, and just after sunset, we go for a ride. We may have never seen the sun, but we're still having fun. It's so much fun just to be a vampire. It's so much fun just to fly through the night. It's so much fun just to be a vampire. You should run and hide. We're gonna bite. We're gonna bite. We're gonna bite. We're gonna bite. For like the 5th time. Chapter 1, Introduction and History. That was my Kane impression. What? School for Little Vampires released in 2006 and ended in 2010. It has 4 seasons and only 3 of them have been dubbed in English after being added onto Netflix in 2016. Also, I know it's not that big of a deal, but Netflix falsely labeled it as originally releasing in 2008 even though it came out in 2006. That's just an interesting thing Netflix messed up on for some reason. Then Netflix later did what they do best and removed it in 2018. This means that it only stayed on Netflix for 3 years in the US. It was available for English, German, and French dubbing while it was on there, but one of the most popular dubs seemed to have been ignored. We'll get into the dubs more thoroughly later in another chapter, so feel free to skip to that if you're curious. Anyways, the show itself is mostly episodic, though it does do a great job of remembering details from previous episodes and continuing plot lines, unlike most kids' shows that, around that time, didn't really do that. It just kind of would say something and then the next episode they completely forget about it. This show doesn't do that, which as a detail-oriented person, I really appreciate that. This show is based on a book by
Jackie Niebisch,
and in its original title,
Die Schule der kleinen Vampire.
It was a German book for kids, and sadly I can't tell you how different the book is from the show because I haven't found a way to read it because the only way to read it is in German and on Amazon, and well, I can't read German unfortunately. And I couldn't find any audiobooks of it either that I could translate, so maybe in the future, if I can find that, I'll make a separate video. Anyways, as we can see from the book covers, some of the character designs aren't too different from the ones we're used to in the final show, which we're now going to introduce in the next chapter. Chapter 2! Character Introductions! Before we get into any of the specific characters, I just want to quickly mention how much I love the character designs. That is one of the best aspects of the show, no matter what version you watch of it. I love that they're not conventionally attractive because, you know, even my own show, I made them mostly conventionally attractive. And I really appreciate when a show just creates kooky character designs and doesn't really care about any of that. It really helps show the point of the show, and some of my favorite characters are the ones that people would look at and go,
That character looks ugly.
well, you know what? It's not always about looks. It's about their personality and their heart at the end of the day. And I just feel like the show is really good at making you appreciate characters and people for their uniqueness and not caring so much about appearance. If you put a shadow over these guys, they all look very different. To understand all of the other characters and the concept of the school itself, we must introduce the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, the powerful, intimidating, and yet handsome principal himself, Count ALVARICH von HORRIFICUS. This man has red glowing eyes, long beautiful majestic hair, a snatched waist, and of course is very, very tall. His design is absolutely perfect at making you feel a little charmed, but also a little scared. And as soon as I saw him the first episode, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in for a treat with this show. This is so exciting. He is the ruler of the HORRIFICUS castle and school for little vampires, making him the principal. The students often fear him, like any other principal in real life, I suppose, but even more so due to the fact that he's intimidating and he has a lot of powers. And also because he's so tall, he can tower over you. And he will not hesitate to expel you for pretty much anything and everything you could think of. Like, even the smallest rule broken, he's gonna expel you for that. According to this information board, he is about 400 years old, and otherwise most personal information about him is a mystery. And guess what? He also has a nephew. Uncles are a really big deal in this world's lore, as the bond between an uncle/aunt and a niece/nephew is sacred. That's why there's so many uncle characters in the show. I was really wondering why, but eventually it gets explained that that's just a really special part of the vampire culture. And you're probably wondering, well, who is this nephew I keep referencing? Well...
oh my god, my Shayla.
Oscar is absolutely my favorite character by far, alongside some other characters I'll introduce shortly. Oscar is shy, sensitive, sweet, and the only one who doesn't annoy me in any episodes at any point. He's probably also my comfort character out of all of them, just because me and him are very similar. He is always trying to help people out and make them feel safe in the school, but he is constantly made fun of and bullied by other students. Mainly Stoker, that little brat we'll talk about soon. A lot of episodes focus on him and his fear of blood, and it shows that a lot of the adults are trying to fix this phobia that he has, and this isn't just your normal old fear. He passes out at the sight of blood, or even really the thought of it. You know, it is interesting that a vampire being afraid of blood has happened twice now, and they both happen to be my favorite characters. But Oscar did it first. He paved the way. He is canonically 13 by the end of the series, which means he starts off at 10 in the first season. We do get to see him get taller, change his outfit, and become more confident towards the last season, which I love to see. I'm so proud of him. Sunshine is Oscar's crush, but there's a little problem. She's a human, and she's also the granddaughter of a vampire hunter, which leaves for a lot of tension and drama within the series. Now, here's the really interesting thing. In all of the dubs except English, Sunshine knows Oscar is a vampire, which I prefer that way more than the latter, because in English, when she doesn't know he's a vampire, not only does it leave a lot of plot holes, but it also makes some of her actions seem really rude, because in the other dubs, like if she forces him to see a lot of blood or do something that's really gory, it's sweet because she thinks, oh, he's a vampire, so he would like this. But in English, since she doesn't know that, she's just forcing him to look at all this stuff that a normal kid wouldn't really want to look at. So it just feels kind of weird, right? So now that you know Sunshine, let me introduce you to her grandfather, Palos Polidori. This guy reminds me of King Peppy from Trolls for some reason. He is by far the funniest character besides Bruno, which we don't talk about. Oh, not you, Bruno. That Bruno. Yeah, you're fine. Where was I? Oh yeah, so Polidori is always trying to hunt down vampires in the castle and prove to the townspeople that vampires are real. But of course, everybody just brush it off as, you know, he's a cranky and kooky old man who just has a few screws loose. And although that is true to some extent, he's not wrong about the whole vampire thing. He often tries to come up with wild inventions and ideas to break into the vampire castle, as it is filled with extreme security to hide from humans. This isn't their first rodeo, okay? The whole plotline is extremely explored within Season 1. I'd say that's the main plot of Season 1. Next up we have Gothetta, or her original German name Graftein. I watched the entire show knowing her as Gothetta, so that's the name I'm going to refer to her as for the majority of the video, but Graftein is such a pretty name as well. She is stylish, fierce, confident, and definitely a headstrong lady. She is no damsel in distress, and that is very clarified early on in the series when Stoker tries to constantly objectify her. Stoker. Anyway, she is seen as the big sister figure of most of the characters, especially KLOT, usually trying to be the voice of reason or just straight up telling people their plans or ideas aren't gonna work or aren't good. She also has a crush on Oscar, which makes for a sort of love triangle between Oscar, Sunshine, and her. There's been a long debate within the fandom on who should be with who, and of course we'll get to that later. She also has a pet spider! Her name is Aracula, and I absolutely adore her. She rests on her necklace and has such a cute and fun addition to her character. Alright, let's talk about the devil himself, Stoker. Yeah, you've been hearing his name pop up a little bit, so it's finally time. Stoker, also known as Fletcher, is the character that you love to hate. He does get a lot better towards the end of the series, but no matter what, he's still a bully. He does a great job at not only annoying the students, but also the viewer. He makes fun of the students for different things, causes mischief, pranks, all of that stuff a classic bully character would do. He often makes fun of Ashley for not being able to do the same things as them, and Oscar for having a fear of blood. He just really likes to be a piece of shit. He's fun to watch and definitely pretty funny at some times, but other times he's just undefendable and very cruel. He definitely embodies a more classic, cold-hearted vampire. He can't wait to have real blood and bite humans since he's not allowed to until he's older. And yeah, we should all just be very scared of this kid when he grows up because he's already very scary now. I mean, there was literally an episode where he was like a dictator or something.
I can't believe that there are people that would do something like this. It's so sick and twisted.
Next, meet Leechy, another one of my favorite characters. His name is Leechy in English, but in German his original name is Tinto. I think Leechy is a bit cuter, especially considering it's a mix between the word leech and geeky. He is one of my favorite characters, but that's not too shocking if you know my love for nerdy characters. He's also pretty shy and not outgoing, which is why Stoker and him is such an interesting and fun dynamic we get to see in a couple of episodes. They are opposites but complement each other so well, and I'd like to say that Stoker is actually nicer when he's around Leechy, and Leechy seems a little more out there, confident, and maybe a little sassy around Stoker. They just bring out the best in each other. Leechy also canonically has a girlfriend named Raveena. She's so cute, and I'll just briefly introduce her since she only unfortunately shows up in one episode. She might be referenced a few times afterwards, but never actually on screen does she appear again. Raveena is OXBLOOD's niece. She adores inventions and anything technology related, which is why they're such a cute pair. Next up we've got KLOT. Now I know a lot of people would think he's annoying because he's a little baby who often cries, especially in season 1, but he's my child, he's my son, you can't hate on him. I love that they actually grew him up a lot throughout the show. In season 1, he's often needing to go to the bathroom, he can't sleep, he's crying for his parents, but as the show goes on, we see this less and less, and he's actually going on his own, not talking about his parents as often, and it's so beautiful getting to see him grow up. He has to live away from his parents, and we actually do get to meet his father in one episode, and he's a famous piano player. Sadly, a lot of people take advantage of KLOT due to the fact that he's innocent, naive, and clueless, and he's often manipulated by the humans or other bad characters for being so impressionable, which is just sick when you think about it. His sailor outfit is based on the outfit worn by Robbie in the 1992 HBO special A Child's Garden of Verses. Clerk on TikTok actually explained where all of the references come from, and a lot of the outfits are inspired by other vampire media, so I'm putting in their photos here. Make sure to check them out. I'll leave a link in the description where you can check them out because they make awesome content. They're one of the only active School for Little Vampires creators right now, and I love their stuff, especially this because I didn't even realize some of these are literally inspired after things I've seen before. By the end of the series, he is canonically 6 years old, which means we start off with him at only 3 years old. He's so tiny. He is indeed the youngest student at the school, and of course we can't talk about KLOT without talking about my GOAT and other favorite character, Ashley! Ashley the Magnificent himself, my GOAT, my legend, the diva, the icon. Ashley is flamboyant, fabulous, confident, and a hilarious character. He's the comedic relief and the diva above all divas. Now, what if I told you that he wasn't always a pile of ash, which might actually make sense to you guys? For some reason, it didn't click to me until the episode came that we saw what he looked like, even though it's literally in the intro. So yes, he is indeed actually a vampire that got turned into ash after being out in the sun for too long, so now we know what happens to them. And despite his confident and sarcastic behaviors, he really is very insecure deep down about all of it because, I mean, come on, he lost all his limbs, and he was such a handsome vampire before. He had beautiful red hair, he knew how to dance, the ladies loved him. I would be really upset as well. And I feel like he's one of the best written characters in the show for that reason, because even before he was Ash, he was very insecure because vampires are taught to be more like how Stoker is, more evil and tricky and mysterious and mean, but he's sensitive, he's artistic, he's a diva, and I feel like him and Oscar really have that in common, which I think is why they chose for them to be the ones that are stuck together in an episode. That was one of the best episodes. There's this one episode and I feel so bad for him because it's Spring Feelings, which is like Valentine's Day for vampires, and he just starts crying and saying no one will ever love him because he's a pile of ash and no one can see him for who he truly is deep down just because he's ash, and I just feel so bad for him. Next up we have one of the teachers, which is OXBLOOD, also known as Oxford. I prefer his English name because it just makes more sense to me. OXBLOOD sounds like a cute play on Oxford. He's also a teacher at the school and used to be a student back when he was younger. And yes, you can actually see he is literally Nosferatu, which I absolutely love. OXBLOOD is often made fun of and not taken seriously by the students, which I don't understand why. He's so sweet, kind, and caring, and he's a great teacher. And poor man still thinks he has hair because he can't see himself in the mirror. It's truly tragic. And while we're on the topic of teachers, we gotta talk about Lady KRYPTINA! She is so mother, as they would say. I adore her red hair, I love her design. Her face, her makeup, everything. I love her! No wonder Gothetta sees her as, like, her inspiration, because, I mean, come on, she's inspiring to everyone all around the world. And she is the only girl that permanently stays at the school besides Gothetta, which I love this show to bits, but I do wish that they kept at least RAVEENA at the school because she is OXBLOOD's niece. I don't know why the girl students always end up leaving. I get for NEFFIE's case because she was being a brat, and I guess she's a background character, so I don't really need to go too in depth about her, but she is a mummy, and I love her design. She reminds me of Nephira from Monster High, but she was being really mean, so I totally get why she had to leave. But BATORIA and RAVEENA could have stayed, I feel like. I don't know. I just feel like even if they didn't talk, I would like to have them in the background so that there's at least a few more girls at the school. But anyways, back to KRYPTINA. Her costume is a reference to the white dress and hat worn by Lady Westerna after she turned into a vampire in the 1992 movie Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Hopefully I said all of that right. And her age and other personal info is a mystery, but I'm gonna assume she's around the same age as ALVARICH. And we also have the butler and the chef and a lot of other things at the castle. This is basically Alarich's servant, Lenny / Nestor in the German dub. I like both names. I think they both fit. I mean, Nestor does sound more vampire-y, but Lenny sounds like what his name was before, because unlike any of the other vampires in the show, he is actually bit to be a vampire. He was not originally born a vampire. He got bit and turned into one, so he's still new to being a vampire, and the others try to help him out most of the time. But Lenny deserves better. Like, please comment down below, Lenny needs justice, because what in the world is going on? Everyone is so mean to Lenny. They get mad at him all the time. They call him dumb. They treat him like he doesn't have a brain. Maybe it's because he's half human, which if that's the case, that is really upsetting. He deserves so much better. Alaric is always overworking him and he's probably underpaid. Someone help him. So those were all of the reoccurring characters in the series, but as I said earlier, the character designs cook so much for usually characters to show up in one episode, so we're gonna do a speed round, naming a couple of extra characters that are honorable mentions for sure. First of all, we got the girl that I owe everything to, Batoria, because if it wasn't for her, I would have never found this show. I was looking up scene characters, because there's really not any, and she kept popping up, and I was like, a vampire that's a scene queen? I'm intrigued. And yeah, so if it wasn't for Gothetta's cousin, Batoria, I wouldn't be here watching this, which is so crazy. So thank you, Batoria. I didn't expect her to be as mean as she is, but honestly, not mean in Neffie's way, more mean in like Stoker's like pranky way, which honestly fits. It's kind of historically accurate because scene queens from the MySpace era, they were something. They were definitely mean. So I think it's accurate, and I really wish she showed up more because that was my favorite episode of season 4. Well, I think, I don't know. And speaking of characters who totally deserve to have more episodes, and I firmly believe he should have, Bucktoothsome, which his name I honestly don't think fits him. I know it's like a play on Bucktooth, but he doesn't even have buck teeth, so I just feel like it's kind of random. Maybe that weird SpongeBob guy should have been named that. We'll get to him eventually, okay? I promise you. anyways, so where was I? Oh yes, Buck. I love his design. I love this man. He is like my favorite character alongside Ashley and Oscar, and I don't care if he only showed up one time, okay? The fandom is also obsessed with him. There are so many amazing edits and fan arts of this guy because, I mean, he's just so likable, and it's insane to me that he never showed up again. This guy dropped out of school and believes that the best lessons that are taught are through experience and living life, which honestly he does have a point. I think school is just as important, but sometimes we need to learn about chores and taking care of ourselves and learning how to, I don't know, be a human, well, in their case, a vampire properly. So yeah, I actually kind of respect his motto. He's just iconic. I love him. He's just so charismatic. He's one of those characters that you just love and you just get star eyes every time you see him on screen. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of other characters I could mention, but those are the main ones I really care about, and I already mentioned RAVEENA and NEFFIE, so we're gonna just move on to the next chapter.
Chapter 3, Episodes.
Okay, so change of plans. Originally, this whole segment was going to be a lot different. It was going to be full of my notes. I had 250 notes, little voice notes that I made throughout watching the series. I remembered me being super enthusiastic and open and whatever, you know, just talking about it, adding good, useful commentary. No, like literally, if there was a whole video just dedicated to those notes, you would come back feeling the exact same as you felt before watching it. Your life would not be changed, no opinions would be formed, it would just be terrible. I had the personality of a plate, honestly. I don't know why I was so boring and what the heck I was saying.
I said some really weird stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't know what was going on.
So yeah, instead, I'm just going to give my overall opinion because I am going to make a separate video ranking the episodes, and I feel like then I could talk about more in a grand scheme of things what I thought of each episode. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited for that video. But until then, I'm just going to kind of describe the vibe of the show and the seasons and all of that stuff. So right off the bat, we just get thrown right into it with this series. You know how some series have like an origin story or a pilot episode? This doesn't have that. We're just thrown right into the situation without knowing any of the characters' names or anything. And usually I hate that in shows. Like, I'll usually be kind of like, I don't know about this when an episode is like that, but I actually like it for the show. I think it makes you kind of question everything, like, who is this person? Who is that character? How did they end up like this? I just like the mystery of it. I think it really works for the show, and it's, you know, sometimes it's nice to not have a moment where, like, I mean, imagine Oscar being like, my life is pretty crazy, let's see how I got here. Like, that would just be kind of like, I don't know. I like that we're just thrown right into the swing of things, and I will say, I do think it takes place at a very early time in their school year. I don't think this is like completely in the middle, like they already knew each other super well. I think there's definitely a lot of development that happens, especially in the dub, because oh boy, it was really rough in the first few episodes, and just first season in general.
Now don't stay out late, children. Bird.
I'm a
Big fat chicken. Buck, 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 buck. Stop acting like—
Season 1 definitely had a lot of the most edgy jokes, as I would call them. They're just these jokes that I really appreciate. There's what the fang, stake yourself, a lot of stuff like that, which, you know, I guess I could classify as like edgelord humor. I don't know what to call it. I kept calling that in the notes, so I'm just gonna keep calling it that. Just humor that I honestly really appreciate when you're older watching the show, and I'm pretty sure I probably already talked about this in an earlier segment. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I just do really love that. And not just that, I just love the details in the show in general. There are so many little things that they add that just makes me smile, like the little details of their sayings and their mottos, just like we have, but they have more violent or vampire-y sounding stuff, and I love it. I mean, look how cute they are in their little coffins. This is how they sleep, and Ashley sleeps in an urn. Like, oh, I love it. Season 1 followed more of a formula than the rest of the seasons, and by that I mean most of them were targeted towards Oscar and Sunshine's relationship, with POLLIDORI trying to ruin their date or try to attack the vampires. That's pretty much how most of the episodes in Season 1 go, and that's not the case for any of the other seasons. It's very unique to Season 1, where there's this kind of like pattern, and I think it's just because, you know, it's the first first season, we want to get to know the main cast and definitely get to know the main characters. So yeah, I actually really liked this, and it didn't feel too repetitive just because they changed it up every time, and not every single episode was like that. It was like every other episode or every few episodes, so they still kept it fresh and unique and giving us a chance to meet the other characters, but I would say this is where we see the most of Oscar and Sunshine's relationship, so if you're a fan of that, season 1 is definitely the best way to go.
That's so kind. Thank you. Hey, look. The moon, how it shines tonight.
Season 1 feels really nostalgic. Like, even when I watched it for the very first time, I felt nostalgia, even though I had never watched the show in my life. And I think maybe it's just the vibe that it has. The music, the stories, everything about it just has a very, I don't know, nostalgic old vibe to me, and I love it so much. Season 2 was definitely more focused on the rest of the characters besides Oscar. I absolutely love every single episode in this season. They did a great job with this one.
Ich zeig euch, wie man mit Sterblichen umgeht.
I think that season 2 definitely had like really good messages and lessons at the end of the episodes. I feel like there was a lot of good payoff, and I liked getting to see more backstories of characters, and we definitely got a lot of lore drops. I kept saying in my notes that this is like the season of lore drops, and I think that's true because we learned a lot about not only vampires as a creature in general, but also the characters' backstories, and we did get some hints that Stoker acts mean because his parents neglect him, which does make me feel bad for him, okay? I will give him that.
Dear Stoker, hope you can make it home for the holidays. We have lots of presents for you, and are really looking forward to seeing you. Love, your mother. Ha, so there.
Still can't figure out why you posted that card to yourself, Stoker. I mean, you could have just kept it and said...
And this is the season where Oscar and a couple of the other characters get a new voice. At the very end of season 1, Stoker's voice randomly changed, and this is the voice that he has for the rest of the series. I actually prefer the newer voice way more than the first one because I'm pretty sure it's the same actress, but I think she just did a different voice for him or accent, and I definitely think the Transylvanian mixed with British makes more sense for Stoker than, like, I don't even know what that was before. It just didn't really sound vampire-y to me, so yeah, the new voice is much better. Oscar's voice, it took me a long time to get used to. I do think it technically makes way more sense because it's not a grown man voicing him, so it fits Oscar better, but it still doesn't sound like his German voice, and I love his German voice so much.
Nun, also morgen hat meine Klasse ein Dings geplant, wie heißt das nochmal,
What was it exactly? A field trip. Yeah, that's it, to the morgue.
An underground troll city? That's a super idea.
Season 3 is where things changed a lot. Now, I actually loved the changes for the most part, and I think that it got even better, but it's definitely a lot to get used to, and the main thing I'm referring to is the color palette change. As you can see, all of the characters and even the backgrounds were all highly changed to be more saturated, bright, and overall just not as gloomy as it used to be, which I will say I do prefer the season 1 and 2 color palette much more because it's vampire-y, it's creepy, it's mysterious, it's dark, but I'll tell you why they did this, and although I can't find any official information on why, I think we can all assume it's because they wanted to make it quote-unquote more digestible for the kids. Unfortunately, sometimes the studio or some guy comes in and is like,
hey, you need to make this a little brighter for the kids or a little more friendly for the kids.
So that's why some seasons will just kind of soft reboot without you even realizing of these shows that I'm displaying on screen for you now, and it's just unfortunate. However, I will say that thankfully none of the characters have actually changed. All of them act the same, the jokes are the same, and even in season 4 I feel like they did tone it down a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it's really nothing to worry about too much. And to be honest, when you're watching it, you really don't notice, and some characters are way more noticeable than others, but I think the main thing that confuses me is because the whole thing with the first 2 seasons is that the humans had really bright saturated colors and the vampires had really really dark colors. That was kind of the thing contrasting them between each other. Like when you would see a vampire next to a human, you go, oh, that's a human, because they wear really, really bright colors. Moving on from all of that though, season 3 is so great, and the animation is incredible in season 3. It's so fluid, it's so flowy, and it's so satisfying to watch. The dubbing in this season was by far the best. They actually did put in an effort to have more emotion. Maybe it's because they were more used to doing the voices now, but it made it a lot more bearable to watch it in English for sure. And overall, I really loved the stories in this one, and this season had a lot of new characters like humans and stuff, which was super fun. And one of my favorite episodes is an Ashley based one where he's like a star in a museum. I loved seeing him get his moment. And overall, I really loved this season. There was something so special about it.
So sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Right.
My name's Alfredo. I'm with a carnival just in town. My parents work there. And maybe some other nice herbs to go with dinner.
And guess what? I can actually share some of my notes I did. I was getting ready and doing my makeup while I talked about the episodes I was watching, and I actually said stuff that was informative and useful. So enjoy watching me get ready while I yap about the episodes I watched. So this episode is episode 3 of season 3, and it was so much fun. So basically they're learning how to hypnotize each other, and if a vampire is in front of a reflection, although the vampire can't see themselves, the hypnotized state of them can. It's really interesting, and basically Stoker is trash. He's the worst one, even though he's being the most cocky about it, claiming he's gonna be the best, even though he's not. He can't even hypnotize Ashley. Ashley, my goat, always doing great things, always hypnotizing Stoker. We love to see it.
Peeper, and you're out.
He literally legit hypnotizes himself to think that he is Van Helsing, which is the monster hunter. And a lot of things you'll see, Hotel Transylvania even has Van Helsing.
He's a pretty big deal.
Yes, ignore the lack of my side part because I'm getting ready, but yes, we got an Oscar-based episode. Finally, I cannot believe this whole season we have not gotten an Oscar-based episode. That is so weird because he's supposed to be the main character. Though, you know what? I do appreciate the show gives everybody some time to shine, but I needed more Oscar. And it's so cute. Look at all his little expressions. And Gothetta doesn't like goth music. I know, her name has Gothetta, but she doesn't like goth music. That is a huge plot twist, and I actually just saved a playlist on Spotify of a Gothetta themed playlist, and all of it is goth music, so apparently canonically she wouldn't actually like that. This episode is one of my favorites of this season, and it was actually kind of sad watching this because it's a tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, and this was literally like days after his passing, so it was really rough. But yeah, I loved this episode, and I loved getting more Lenny backstory, and apparently there's Lenny in the shower for those who might simp for him. I'm not sure if there's simps out there, but if there are, here you go. And I am a little confused because they say that the artist makes goth music, but it's more rock or metal. But you know what? We're just gonna let it slide, okay? It's a kid's show, whatever. And finally, season 4, one of the best seasons, if not the best, dare I say. It's just so good. The animation has improved even more. I really didn't think it could get any better, but I was wrong. It's so good. It's amazing. And the stories are definitely my favorite in this season. The stories were just so compelling, and I was just so curious what was going to happen next in all of them. And it also probably helped watching it in the original language, because this was never dubbed in English, so I had to watch it in German. And honestly, it's just better because now I have this fear in the back of my mind that there's stuff in the English dub that isn't accurate to the German. Like, they could have changed the whole plot of an episode or a detail about a character easily in English, and I would have just never known about it. So it was really nice just being able to watch it without worrying that I was seeing something that was not correct, you know? And it was just cool to see the original, like, jokes and names, and honestly, it was just so much better all around. And there is a part in one of the episodes, this whole episode is so iconic because Oscar's in drag, he's dressing up as a girl to sneak into the sleepover with Sunshine, and this whole thing unfolds where Stoker's like, oh, that lady is so hot, and then Leechy's like, that's Oscar, and then Stoker's like, I meant the girl next to him, the girl with glasses, and Leechy's like, so your type is short with glasses? Like me! Oh my god, I squealed. I can't help but ship them a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, it's woke. Turn it off.
And we got another Halloween episode in this season, which I just love the Halloween episodes so much. Technically, all of them are Halloween, but I mean, come on, these ones, it's literally Halloween. And I loved seeing all of their costumes, and this one was definitely more intense because of the fact that POLLIDORI was like wanting to tag along with them. And yes, this is the season with the icon herself, BATORIA. I was waiting so long for her, and I was like, oh, she's in one of the last episodes of the entire series. That makes sense. But yeah, that episode, oh, it's so good. I can't wait to rank the episodes. You guys gotta know my thoughts on them. And the last few episodes were so good because, well, they are the last ones of the entire series, which is just so sad to say. And let me tell ya, it went from me just watching this for a video to completely hyperfixating on it. And no, I'm not using that term in the way some of the neurotypicals are. I mean, literally, it's consuming my mind. Every morning I would wake up, then I would do my laundry or do my makeup, and then I would watch it at night before going to bed, and I would just repeat that cycle every single day until I was done with the series. Not only that, but Ashley was on my birthday card. I literally put a clip of the episode in my song. I've cosplayed multiple of the characters, and my art style has been plagued by this show. Yes, my art style isn't even safe. I give them these eye bags now, and it is inspired by the show, indeed. The only thing I don't have is merchandise, because sadly, they never made merchandise for the show. I don't know why. The only official merch we have of the show are DVDs, and there's actually 2 available, part 1 and part 2 of season 2, so I'm adding those puppies to my list and hoping that that's the only thing I get for Christmas this year. As long as I get it before it's out of stock, that's all I care about. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to DIY everything. I guess I'm just gonna have to force my printer to print out 1,000 posters until it's out of ink. And I mean, come on, imagine turning them into marketable plushies. That would be so adorable. I would give anything to have an Oscar plush to hold tight, okay? He's my comfort character. Chapter 3, The Phantom. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how much the fandom has changed since when the show first came out because, well, that was pretty much before the internet was the way it was now. It just started coming out, and I'm sure most of the fans were children. But the fandom has definitely had its highs and lows, and it's very interesting to study. It's very fascinating, you see. The main 3 people that you will see actively in the fandom now are English-speaking fans, of course German fans, and surprisingly Russian fans. I've seen more Russian fans than German fans, and there's also a lot of people who said they grew up with it in Italy, so it's just very interesting. A German show, but the fandom is mostly made up of Russian fans nowadays, on TikTok especially. Interestingly enough, after it was removed off of Netflix, the show started getting some attention from English-speaking states, and my best guess is obviously because of the pandemic, because it was between the years of 2020 and 2023 that we noticed the most posts being made about it. Mainly 2021 is where all of the stuff is still to this day remaining on TikTok, which is just so interesting, but it makes sense because we were all desperate to watch shows, even if they were old ones, since new ones weren't really able to be made, and I assume this is where everybody kind of discovered it from. And that's why it's such a shame that they removed it off of Netflix before the pandemic, because imagine how much they would have gotten attention for if they had kept it on there. People wouldn't have to go onto YouTube or some crazy sketchy site to watch it. They could have just went straight to Netflix and, I don't know.
Make money!
You know that meme, fandom so small it could fit in a bus? Well, yep, that is definitely us nowadays. Nowadays, you can find us on Tumblr and TikTok for the most part. On YouTube, there's just Sigma edits. I don't know what that's about.
Not new, not interesting.
Pinterest is home to some of the best fan art and best photos of the show. That's where pretty much all the photos used in the video are from. However, proceed with caution because this is the only place I have seen a few things that made me raise my eyebrow a little bit. So dear viewer, what do you think happens when a fandom has their hands on a show where the cast is mainly children? They're responsible with it, right?
No.
Anyways, I've seen a lot more positives than negatives. I think this is probably one of the healthiest fandoms I have ever encountered, which is probably because it's small, and that's why I prefer smaller fandoms. I just feel safer in them because I know they're not very mainstream, and that's also why it's such a safe space for alternative kids and queer kids all around the world, because our most popular ship in the fandom is a gay crack ship, because, well, it's between Ashley and Buck, and it's a crack ship because the characters have never even met before together at any point, and we all gaslit people who are new into thinking that they were canon, including me. I got tricked. I thought that this was going to happen, and then it never did. Whoever edited this photo, you are a god. You are a legend. Thank you. So now we have to continue on the trend of gaslighting people into believing that they are canon, because in our eyes,
it was real. It was real to me.
This fandom is overall super supportive of headcanons as well, which I'm very grateful for because, well, headcanons aren't even accepted in some other fandoms. Like, people can't even fathom the concept of that. Name a sexuality or identity, and I can guarantee you someone has that for any of the characters. And they are also super open to self-shipping and OCs. There are a lot of people who have OCs in love with canon characters, or even the daughters of canon characters, and I just love to see such creativity. Especially right now in a world full of plastic and AI, it's just nice to see actual genuine work, no matter how crappy the edit is or how crappy anything else could be. That's all that matters. It's genuine, real human stuff you can't recreate. And I just want to put up some of my mutuals that I have met over time, or maybe they're not even mutuals of mine and I just love their content. I think if you're interested in the fandom or the show and you want to meet some cool people, just check out these accounts, alright? Shout out to all of you guys. And for the most part, these are all people that are still very active to this day and will support the heck out of all of your edits. I have learned that, and now I just want to keep making edits of School for Little Vampires to feed my lovely family. And before we move on, I also wanted to highlight some of the ships in the fandom, or at least the ones I've seen the most reoccurring of. So obviously we have the canon ones like Sunshine and Oscar, Gothetta and Oscar, Raveena and Leechy, etc. But there's also Gothetta and Sunshine, which I oddly really love. Like, I don't know what it is, just the idea of, like, the two girls that want Oscar end up together. Like, we love Yuri in this place, alright?
2, 3, I want Yuri. 1, 2, 3, I want Yuri. 1, 2, 3, I want Yuri.
ALVARICH and KRYPTINA, I really love the idea of this one. There were some episodes I thought they were hinting at it, but maybe they just made their relationship more like professional, so they didn't really get into detail with it, but I think that could be a really great story. And usually when people ship Oscar and Sunshine, they put Gothetta with Stoker, just so she could be with someone, but she said plenty of times it's either Oscar or no man, so personally, I don't ship it. I totally respect the ship, and I do see the vision. Honestly, there's so many more ships I could talk about, but I'm sure if you could name any ships and ask my opinion on it, I would probably say I'm open to it or like it, unless it's something obviously disgusting. But luckily I haven't really seen much of that, so that's good. Anyways, so yeah, comment down below who you ship. I have never been able to decide if I like Gothetta and Oscar more or Sunshine and Oscar more, so I've just stopped asking myself that question. Why not just enjoy both? Oh yeah, and Miriam, one of the people who work on the show, DM'd me? What? Oh, and they replied to my comment. I don't know what's going on, guys, but thank you so much. Thank you, Miriam. Oh my god. Miriam is so awesome because they still post about the show and talk about experiences working on it and stuff, and I don't want to bother them, but I have so many questions for them. And you may even recognize their work as they worked on Winx Club, including the reboot. Probably one of the only humans working on that. Anyway, they also worked on Mia and Me, which I know is a pretty popular show, so yeah. They also vaguely mentioned that the color palette of these characters they designed, which look beautiful by the way, were just completely changed without them knowing. Chapter 4, Lost Media. There was actually going to be a movie at some point, but sadly it was scrapped or delayed for unknown reasons. There's a small chance it could still be made one day, but only if someone rediscovers this franchise and wants to reboot it, like Monster High, Winx Club, My Little Pony, other franchises like that, which I'm actually not super opposed to because I think making a new movie or show could be a great way to reintroduce the series to a whole new generation, but that also means there's just as much of a chance that when it gets rebooted, it could be watered down to something way more childish ish and get rid of all of the creepy vampire-y stuff, because I mean, we already kind of saw that with season 3 and 4, so imagine how bad it would be now. Anyways, back to the movie. Wikipedia actually lists a bunch of information about the scrapped movie and its concepts, so without further ado, I shall read it for you, and I might butcher some of these names, I'm so sorry. Quote, the German media MDM supported the project development of the movie School for Vampires by promoting a 3D produced by Rabix VFX GmbH Weimar and Hain Film AG, as Gerard Hain will be the director and producer. The production should begin in 2010. However, as of June 2021, no updates have been released. As stated on the Hain Film website, the film would have followed Oscar trying to pursue a career in singing by starring in a musical, while also trying to pursue his love for sunshine. The potential film of the series would have had a runtime of 80 minutes, and it would have been a fully computer animated feature. And dude, I went full detective mode. I actually went back on the Wayback Machine on the Hain Films website, and I got the official movie description. This page is not available anymore, so I went on the Wayback Machine and we've got it. So, let me read for you the official description of what the movie was supposed to be. Oscar the Little Vampire has a slight problem. He can't stand the sight of blood and would much rather be a singer than a bloodsucker. So when the famous director Adolf Rummel, that's an interesting name there, buddy, decides to use the castle Horrificus as the central location for blood-sucking musical, of course oblivious to the fact that this is literally a school for vampires, Oscar jumps out of his coffin to get a part. Despite the vehement protests of his headmaster and uncle, Count Horrificus, Oscar auditions and the director, impressed as much by his singing as his authentic appearance, casts him as the leading role. This doesn't go down too well with the nephew of the director and, until now, only star of Hello Helsing. Hello plays the part of a vampire hunter, opposite of Oscar, and soon, life seems to start imitating art. Things aren't made any easier when Oscar falls in love with Helsing's beau, Sunshine, the beautiful heroine of the piece. And even when forbidden by his elders and warned by his cold-skinned friends, I think maybe some of the translations are wrong, like Hello is not the name of the thing. The movie is called Hello Helsing, but I don't think that's the name of the character. I think maybe they're trying to say Polidori? I'm very curious if this is maybe the origin story of how Sunshine and Oscar met, because we weren't even given hints on how they met, and I'm wondering if maybe they're like, let's do a movie and explain how they fell in love and how they got introduced to each other, and this would explain how Polidori found out that there were vampires living here. I just think that makes the most sense if this was some sort of like origin story, which makes me so sad it was scrapped because I would have loved to see how everybody met. There were 2 video games made for School for Little Vampires. The one was an iOS and Android game, and the other one was a PC game. The mobile game has a lot more information on it, and the PC one is one that people are slowly recovering more information about. I actually found a video of the gameplay of the iOS game, so I will put it on screen right now, and check out the full video in the description. And speaking of description, here is the official game description that someone just ripped right off the App Store. Enroll at the famous School for Vampires and join Oscar and his classmates. All kids have to go to school, even if they're vampires. In the TV show School for Little Vampires, you get to know Oscar, who is doing his best to become a real vampire, even though he fell in love with a human girl and the sheer sight of blood makes him faint. Together with his friends, Oscar takes classes in a school where they can learn anything and everything a creature of the night should know. How to avoid dangerous garlic and sunlight, make magic potions, identify blood types, or transform yourself into a bat. In this game, you get the chance to become a pupil at the School for Vampires and attend classes together with Oscar and his friends. You get to know the ancient secrets of dark magic and train your vampiric skills. In order to be successful, you have to plan well, attend diverse classes, and take up different jobs at the castle in order to get materials needed to pass the courses. You can also challenge other students online to see who has what it takes to become the smartest vampire student of all time. Invite your friends to play with you. Vampires with more friends can attend advanced courses and have much better chances of winning a challenge. Recommendable for all humans and bloodsuckers of all ages. This game sounds so fun and so cute, and I envy anybody who ever had this in their home screen. I'm telling you right now. And as for the people—
We are interrupting the following program for some big breaking news.
So sorry to interrupt, but Miriam replied to my comment again! Okay, so Miriam actually knows that this essay exists now. I don't know if they'll ever end up watching it or not, but if so, hi! I'm such a big fan. Thank you so much for keeping this beautiful, beautiful franchise alive with your posts. I really appreciate it. But anyways, so basically I asked them about the color palette change because I was just curious if they knew anything about it, since the way they worded it sounded like they didn't, and they said that they don't exactly know the reason why. They just know that they believe it was the director who made the choice. So yeah, I'm going to assume it was probably because of what I said. They just wanted to make it brighter for the kids, for the marketing and all of that stuff. So yeah, thank you so much, Miriam. I appreciate you so much. Now you can get back to your regularly scheduled program. Thank you, geez, that was kind of rude of you to interrupt me, future me. Anyways, so yeah, getting back to the PC game, there is a lot less information on it, and the fandom has been scrambling to find any information about it. Someone claims that it's for sale on Amazon, and I don't know what would happen if you purchased it. I guess I would have to be the one to test that out. It's gonna be in German, so you couldn't really understand the game anyway, but honestly, I would do anything just to see what it's like. So yeah, I don't know if it's legit, I don't know if you can actually get it, but anyways, yeah, so everything you see on screen is the only stuff that we have so far of it. If anybody else has any more information, please be sure to share it. I would love to include it in a future video at some point. I also found the original backgrounds drawn specifically for the show on Behance, which I believe also counts as lost media just because it's very rare to find. So yeah, these are beautiful, beautiful backgrounds. The artists did an amazing job designing the backgrounds. Just overall, the team of art on this show, you guys just deserve so much. I hope you got paid well because this stuff is stunning. It's so good. I don't know how y'all do it. I suck at drawing backgrounds. Something that I've noticed about video essays regarding TV shows and movies and such is that people often talk about the director and the producer and maybe some of the head artists, but otherwise we don't really know much about the other artists behind the shows, which I totally understand because video essays are a pain in the back to make anyway. They take a very long time, take a lot of research, so I don't want to make anybody's job harder, and I'm definitely not saying that you have to. However, I personally want to credit a lot of these artists. I don't know how much recognition they got from working on this show. I mean, it was 19 years ago, so maybe they don't even care anymore, but as an artist myself and someone who is highly against AI as it takes over our world more and more, I really want to put real artists at the front and people who are struggling financially, or maybe they're alright financially but could use more recognition, or just a friend to comment on a couple of their things. I'm featuring their art and some things that they've been in, and of course their usernames and their websites. All are going to be linked in the description, and I highly suggest you go check them out if you're interested in the show. Just give them a follow, give them a few comments, just help their algorithm out. Even if they haven't posted in years, I feel like it's super important for us to share our love and appreciation for the project by sharing our love to the creators who made it possible. It's probably a neurodivergent thing of mine, maybe it's like my special interest, but I have always overanalyzed everything that I watch to the point I learn about the person behind everything. Music videos, I will go to see who danced in it for 2.5 seconds, and especially with shows, I want to know everybody. I want to know all the voice actors, I want to know all of the cleanup crew, I want to know everything, and I don't really know why. I think it's just something I'm passionate about, and something makes me feel good about spreading the word and giving voices to those who might not have that. Especially considering that the show is now 19 years old, the older it gets, the more people are going to forget about it and forget who worked on it, and that's why I just never want these people to be forgotten for their hard work. The animation is seriously beautiful in this show, and I absolutely love the character designs, the background designs, everything, and none of this could be possible without all of these guys working together and just making real human art, and that's just something I'll always appreciate over some AI slop that looks lifeless and is probably promoting very, very horrible stuff at the end of the day. And now you're probably wondering, well, what about the voice actors? And to that I say, oh boy. Chapter 5, Dubbing! Okay, yeah, I'm just making it more dramatic than it is. This show definitely does not have the dubbing history similar to that of Cardcaptor Sakura or really any other anime. It's really not that bad. I just love to have dramatic effect. Take this with a grain of salt because I've never watched it on Netflix, and if anyone has, let me know if they did credit people. But as far as I can see, they didn't really credit a lot of the people who worked on the English dub, and if they did, it was without putting their character next to it. So basically, we have names, but we don't have characters to attach to the names, which I do think is just kind of sad. Like, they're not even getting credited properly. And shockingly enough, after looking this up, I found out that it aired on Disney Channel at some point, and that's where this dub comes from. I was sure that this dub came from Netflix, but apparently not. It came from Disney Channel, so there you go. Disney has their hands on every franchise, it seems. The main problem stems from the fact that the performances are stale and lack emotion. The actual voices themselves aren't even the issue, as a lot of them sound pretty similar to the German version. It's the actual performance of the lines and the delivery of them that just feels very stiff and off, and I do believe that this is probably the fault of the directors even more than the voice actors, because it seems like they didn't even know who they were voicing sometimes. There are just moments where someone would be talking and they would have a completely different voice, or the voice actor would just change their voice all of a sudden or forget how to do the voice, and it just makes things very awkward and just not so great, especially because the sound mixing itself is phenomenal and they did a great job replacing the sounds in the dub, but the actual voice acting sometimes just falls a little flat. In my opinion, season 2 is the worst concerning the dub because of the fact that the microphone quality was really bad, especially in the first few episodes. Oscar had a huge voice change as well as a lot of the other characters. Stoker's accent completely changed, and well, you know what? Just allow me to show you some clips to show what I mean.
That was absolutely the most repugnant, the most disgusting, the nastiest display I have ever witnessed.
Sipper. Oh, Sitter. I'm gonna pull out your fangs, Stoker. Lunatics running around with garlic cannons.
And like I said, another huge issue is the fact that the voice actors can't decide a voice for anybody, especially Gothetta and Sunshine and Oscar and Stoker. There are moments where their voices just swap. I mean, look at this. I can't make this up, guys.
Yes, it's not just Plan B, it's Plan AB. Sunshine's blood type.
We do a complete transfusion and we collect moonbeams, vampire.
Like, what the heck happened? I'm so confused. What accent was that? That wasn't even like Stoker's voice. What was that? I'm so confused. Since I watched most of the episodes while doing my makeup or writing or drawing, I literally did not know who was talking. I was like, wait, is Stoker here now? And then I look up and it's Oscar, and I was just very, very confused. I don't know how that happened, and the fact that that's not the first time that happened is crazy. It only happened to Oscar once, but it also happened to Stoker and I think Sunshine and Gothetta a couple of times. I just don't know what happened. The directors were clearly not telling people whose character was who. I don't know what's happening. But rest assured, I can safely say that Season 3 has fixed most of these problems and actually, for the most part, was really good. Although it was the same voice actors and there were still moments where it was rough, especially in the last few episodes, I think they were just ready to get it over with, to be honest. It was really good. The mouths matched up much better, and overall, I just think everybody actually locked in and got used to their voices and voice acted like they're supposed to, and I really appreciate it. The delivery of the lines were still rough sometimes, but I'd say for the most part it was pretty good and very amazing at best. Despite my issues with the dub, I still wished that Season 4 was dubbed regardless, just because it would make everybody's viewing experience just a little bit easier. Like I mentioned, I watched this while drawing or doing my makeup or something like that where I didn't need to be looking at the screen every 2 seconds, so it was really hard when I had to switch over to German and just read subtitles the whole time, although I will say I enjoyed that more just because I knew what they were actually saying and I liked the original voices a lot, but still, it would have been nice to have a dub that makes it easily accessible for everybody and, you know, makes it less confusing for new viewers. But I promise you, once you start watching it, you're gonna get used to the dub. You might not even notice anything's wrong with it like I did. I just kind of got numb to the performance after a while. It's obviously a little bit hard when there's big changes like Oskar's voice changing or something really different like that, but otherwise you probably will get used to it like I did and not even realize, so don't let this deter you from watching it. If you can get past the dub, I highly recommend watching it still, and it's more of a warning so you know what you're getting into. Overall, I would love if it was added to a new platform such as like Amazon or something. They could do a new dub that's updated and has better voice acting in it. I think the show would really benefit off of that, and of course dub the 4th season. And I actually had a really fun video idea myself of trying to dub one of the episodes from season 4. I think I'm gonna do the Batoria episode just to see how fun it would be to do some impressions and how hard it is to dub, because I've never tried to dub before and I'm curious how it would go. So let me know if that's a video you'd like to see. I definitely want to do it. But yeah, anyways, the general consensus is to watch the German version, and a lot of fans also really love the Russian version. Oh yeah, and surprise surprise, I do have another video that I definitely want to do in comparing the voices. I want to compare the English voices to the German ones, maybe the Russian too, since that's such a popular dub, because I know those type of videos do pretty well, and I've always wanted to see one like that from the show, so if you don't have any to watch, you gotta make it yourself. So I hope this explained the dubbing history well, and let me know if you have any more information about it, because I'm definitely curious what's going on with the dub and the experiences that the voice actors had. Final thoughts! Well guys, we've officially made it to the end of this video essay, which is crazy to say. I have a lot of final thoughts to share with you if you have a moment for me to get a little sappy. First of all, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to this point. I know this is probably a very long video, which was my goal. I want it to be at least an hour long of just me yapping about a show that I have fallen in love with. I originally watched this show for this video back in July, and I was excited to start a new show, but I didn't even know if I was gonna watch all the seasons. I was like, 4 seasons? That's not a lot, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it enough to watch them all. And no, I became hyperfixated on it and wanting to learn everything there is to know about it. It has become a source of comfort for me and enjoyment, and I have met so many great new mutuals thanks to the show, and my TikTok has never had more views before. And I just genuinely feel like it has helped me get motivation for my channel and kind of give me an idea on where I want to go from now, because I have a lot of great new video ideas and edits, and I just feel like it has truly re-motivated me, and I didn't even know I needed motivating, so I just owe a lot to the show. It has gave me so much, like I said, comfort and joy, and I even convinced my sister and girlfriend to watch it, which is so exciting. And the biggest thing I want for you to take away from this video essay is just the love and appreciation for a show and how amazing a show can be to somebody, even if it's just a kid show about vampires at the end of the day. And I really want you to, even if you don't want to watch the show, I just want you to walk away from this having a new appreciation for the art and what it is to be a creator of a show, or a viewer of a show, or a voice actor of a show, and just see how much an individual can appreciate a piece of work. And for those who possibly have grown up with the show and forgot about it and wanted to watch this video to remember what it was and what the deal was with the show, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this inspires you to rewatch it at some point. I think it would be really cool to rewatch it with a more adult lens. I certainly wish that I grew up with this show just because I think I would have loved it so much, but I also am glad that I found it now, because now I'm able to appreciate it from every side of me, my inner child side and my newfound adult side, and I think this is a show I'm definitely going to rewatch a lot and put on whenever I just need a little pick-me-up, and I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. Usually with these long videos, I can't wait to get them over with. Like, usually, even if it's not a long video, I just hate editing videos, and I just feel so unmotivated, but this was the first time in a long time that I actually just genuinely enjoyed every minute of it. Like, I'm actually sad that it's over, although I am excited to get the video out. it's kind of bittersweet. I've been working on it for so long, and yet it didn't feel like all that long at the same time, and it's just so surreal. Like, I've spent so long researching this, and it was so much fun. Every minute of it was so fun, and I feel like we've only touched the tip of the iceberg. There are probably so many other little things that I didn't know about the show because I didn't grow up with it, so if there is any other things you wanted me to mention but I didn't, let me know, and maybe I'll make a follow-up to this. Who knows? And like I said, I'm far from done making videos about this show, as I have a lot of ideas. I've already made a bunch of edits and art, and I continue to do so even more, especially with the video ideas. I can't wait to do them, and I hope you guys are excited too. Hopefully I have attracted some old fans and new fans, and maybe turned some people into fans. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, comment a soap emoji just so I can know that you made it to the end, actually. And thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much, and I hope your October is filled with fun, spookiness, and lots of vampires. And if you're scared of blood, then no blood. Now enjoy this blooper reel, and with that said, thank you so much for watching. I love you and appreciate you, and I hope you have a great bunny ween. Bye-bye! Produce Rabix VX development of the Smoot. She's extremely kind to Costco. Me. They never write to me, and I'm like, I'm allergic to this horrible stuff. Sleeping in coffins, we party all night, in the sun. But I was still having fun. It's so much fun just to be a vampire. The obvious. I want to. It's her awesome good story. Sleeping in coffins, we party all night, and just after sunset we go for a ride. We may have never seen the sun, dun, 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 but I was still having fun. The outro's over, but I'm still singing, 'cause I love this song so much. Thank you for watching this video essay. You should run and hide. We're gonna buy. Okay, I'll leave you alone now.